Intel announced today, not only are earnings bad there, but they're cutting their dividend. If you guys know what that means, if you own a share of Intel, until recently, you'd get a little piece of the profits. They give you a little dividend. So it was a nice safe stock, you know, because Intel just prints out cash. Not a very innovative stock, but they would print cash. They're canceling their dividend and laying off, what, like 45,000 people? Something absurd? What a terrible time to be joining Intel, I gotta be honest with you. It's sad news, but it's a part of a larger trend, bro. I have a video for Monday. Monday is a discussion on how the United States is basically in recession as we speak, and it's only gonna get worse. That's what we're doing on Monday. I'm just saying it. That's what we're doing. People can always give me the, oh, you're being a bit of a doomer. I feel like all the latest prints, dude, we're there. So we'll talk about it on Monday. We're going into it and what you can do, and I'm trying to have a positive note on it, but I want to be fucking accurate. Intel's doing mass layoffs. The stock responded very poorly, I believe. It's after hours, but it free fell. For a company that's growing, it's kind of like this S curve, right? So it's like this, okay? And it goes up and then it levels out. Okay? For a company in like their growth phase and like their scaling phase and their innovative phase and they're making new products, you want to buy the stock for the price appreciation. So you buy it at, 18 and then it goes up to 60. That's the growth phase. But once a company gets old and mature and their industry's mature and they settled in, they usually don't grow as much anymore. And that's when they switch to becoming cash printers. That's where they use their dominant position. They stop innovating. They stop investing so much in R&D and they start taking all that extra money they have and they just distribute it to their shareholders. So that's whenever it's mature. Intel has most companies lie about this. They don't actually say they're in this mature phase. They pretend they're still a high growth company. But you can tell most companies are after a while end up becoming these mature companies. And that's where you want to give a dividend. That's where like a company like Coca-Cola, a company like Intel, companies that have been around a long time, they're not in their high growth phase. You can't get 10x on the stock. What they're going to do is just print money on dividends. However, Intel is in such a bad spot. People thought, Intel in like the early 2000s started going here. They stopped investing in R&D, they stopped upgrading, and they started printing out cash to shareholders. They just became like a dominant market position company. However, around here, we're realizing that if you don't invest in R&D for this long and you mismanage your company and engineers don't want to work there as much, then you start declining. And now they're panicking and they cut the dividend. So now they're not even paying a dividend anymore. They're way behind the curve of AMD and TSMC and all their competitors. They're way behind the curve and they're panicking to try and turn things around because they're losing market share and they're not making money and it's a desperate situation. So Intel's in a bad spot. Can they turn around? Yeah, sure. They have a ton of money. They still do print cash, but they coasted for too long. And again, this coasting period is like decades. You don't think about it, but Intel's actually been coasting for like legitimately almost 20 years. It's been almost 20 years since Intel's been truly innovative, truly high growth. It's not like this doesn't work, but like eventually it comes to an end. And that's where we're at. And again, that's a smaller part of, a larger recessionary forces that's affecting everything. So is this a smart move? Is this the guy that put $700,000 on Intel stock? Yeah, I saw this. Don't be this guy. This is a guy on Wall Street Bets who bought $700,000 worth of Intel stock right before, I believe, today's earnings, and it collapsed. This guy lost, I think, 200 grand after markets closed today and is going to lose more tomorrow unless he instantly sells, maybe. Apparently, it was his grandma's money. His grandma died, left him $800K inheritance. That's why they put the tag on him, least favorite grandchild. That's crazy. Wall Street Bets is back in a major way. I can't believe your grandma's saving her entire life to leave you enough money to like truly not have to worry, to truly follow your passion, and you insta punt it all on Intel stock. That's crazy. I mean, it's almost sad. I mean, it is sad. It is sad. It really is sad, but thankfully she's not alive to see it. Why Intel? Wall Street Bets brain. He didn't want to spend it on garbage, so he got rid of it. Oh, that's based. He said, I don't want my grandma to ruin my Sigma grind set. I want to earn every penny, okay? So I'm going to toss this away rather than let it poison my mind and make me less of a hustler. On the Reddit, he had a whole list of reasons. Do you want to see his reasons? They're all going to seem a little bit wild in retrospect, huh? Here's why I like Intel. 2024 Q1 up 9% year over year. Intel's been heavily investing and restructuring by building out the domestic foundry business to manufacture semiconductors. This is just what they do. Okay, what I don't think people realize about Intel manufacturing, people talk about this like Intel's going to make the chips at home. They're going to make them in Arizona and it's going to be great. And there's some truth to that because there's so much geopolitical reasons that the US wants that to happen. The Biden CHIPS Act and everything. So there's like a lot of reasons for that, but here's the deal for Intel. Making it in America they're still behind and they're still more expensive. So they're spending all these billions of dollars to try and upgrade their foundries to make more chips. and then nobody buys from them. They still buy from Taiwan. The only way it works for Intel is if there's a war in Taiwan. That's the only real way in any real amount of years, like any near-term future, and I mean like 5 years, is if there's, otherwise they just don't, they can't catch up, and they don't have a cost advantage. So it only works if there's a war in Taiwan. He mentions that here, but this is a incredibly risky bet rather than a thing you should do with all of your, the rest of the things don't really track. These are all like regular bullet points from the company. They're not, you have to compare them against the competition, not against like what they say. But that's why I think it was a stupid bet. And also like, people don't talk enough about the rot at Intel. It's not just that Intel is like, you can just throw money at the problem. The problem is like the best people aren't working there because they have a bad management culture. They've been coasting for so long. They don't know how to innovate. They don't know how to, it's just a company where it's like brain rotted. It's like a COVID kid. Intel doesn't know what to do with the money to make it effective. A lot of people there are investing. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's in cable. I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but I've had this theory in the past, like years ago, and I looked more into it and it's like, and they've done nothing in those years in between. I'm glad I didn't make any bets on Intel. It's so clear there's a reason they're not front running. I mean, there was a whole big thing about how Intel was going to finally make GPUs. Intel was going to make GPUs that were going to compete with NVIDIA. And they're going to have Intel plus GPU plus CPU combos. And it's been a disaster. It's been a total disaster. And they spent so much money on that, you understand? Like, that was very expensive. And it's always like, the next generation will be the one that fixes it. It just seems like it's been bad. I have no reason to think that it won't be different for everything Intel does. They started trying to fix their culture a year ago. They changed their CEO to be more engineering focused. Yeah, I saw that. And again, they have enough money and time, and the fact that they can't lose because they want an American-based chips company means that eventually they can figure it out. But I wouldn't put my money in there. Certainly not all my grandma's money. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not paying them to figure it out. They can start figuring it out and we'll figure it. We'll join up later. So this dip in earnings, them committing to a Q5 gambit? Possibly. So I mean, it looks like they're getting serious about gearing up. They're cutting costs, which is a nice way of saying laying off a lot of long-term workers that put their faith in Intel as a place they could work and have a job. They're also cutting their dividend, which means all of their money is going to go to R&D and growth now. And then they're, refocusing on the future. They're like in the get serious mode. And if they can do it, then okay, good. But if they can't, or they don't have the talent, or they don't have the culture, then it's going to waste a bunch more money. But generally, after a massive layoff, the morale's not high. This is a great question. It shouldn't happen. So just to bottom line it for you, it's not normal. It is not normal for a company to be moving up and down the price of 4 McDonald's in a day. Companies that big should not be trading like penny stocks. To lose and gain hundreds of billions of dollars of value means something deeply wrong. How do I explain it simply? Imagine a company like ExxonMobil or Walmart. Walmart's a $500 billion company. Walmart, you've known it your whole lives. It's a company that's been around for decades and decades and decades. They've slowly but surely grown and grown and grown and grown. They're the biggest employer in America. They have thousands of stores. They've ground down their opposition, their employees, their suppliers to get the maximum amount of profit, and they're worth $500 billion. And NVIDIA is swinging that amount in one day. It is losing a full Walmart one day, gaining a full Walmart the next day. These type of swings are not normal. If you go back, 10 years, it's not happening. It's a very weird thing happening as like the market cannot decide how to value these incredibly overvalued stocks. It just feels very, very stretched. It feels unhealthy. Do you think efficient market theory being broken has anything to do with the increase in consumer investing? No, I actually think the entire reason the market has become broken is due to passive investing, like 401ks, S&P 500 ETF. People just putting their money into passive vehicles has gone from being like the outsider choice, the outsider smart choice, to being the every single person does it with all of their money. And now it has created this gigantic robot that doesn't care about what price it's buying at. And it always buys. You put your money in, portion your paycheck every month, and it always buys. And it always buys the biggest stocks. And it's creating a real distortion of passive flows. The work of Michael Green is really good on that if you want to learn more, but it is a dangerous world. Hello, I just came from your YouTube channel. I've been noticing you're talking way more slowly. Any chance there's a 2x speed on this website? I don't know how to tell you this, but I feel like I'm trapped in some sort of Satan-designed torture chamber where somebody comes in and tells me this joke every single day of my entire life. And they all act like it's the first time I've ever heard it. And I have to hear it over again and 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 over again. And it's like, what did I do to deserve this? Why do I have to hear this? I also talk really fast as it is.